Hello and welcome to the International Gaming Standard Association Conversations. The GSA conversations are just that, conversations between various gaming industry professionals discussing a specific topic. They're intended to be informative and to generate questions. I am Peter de Raad, IGSA's president, and we have with us Ethan Tower, protocol director of IGSA. Hi Ethan, welcome.
Hi Peter.
Today's conversation topic is a short introduction of one of GSA's standards, which can be of significant value to regulators. It's called the Game Authentication Terminal, or GAT standard. Today we will be discussing, is land-based gaming fair? GSA will also be hosting a 1-hour session with Q&A on how GSA standards benefit regulators. But Ethan, let's start first. Ethan, obviously everyone wants to ensure that gaming is fair, and that's being conducted with the highest degree of integrity. I mean, these corporations that run gaming companies today go through a rigorous licensing process that is costly to earn. Those corporations want to make sure that nothing is done to jeopardize their gaming licenses.
Yeah, that's true. Keeping games fair is far more about people making mistakes than I think about the corporations trying to cheat players.
Well, that makes sense, Ethan. So how do GSA standards help with any potential mistakes?
Well, there are probably two standards that apply. The first is GAT, Game Authentication Terminal. The second is G2S, the Game to System standard.
And how so? Can you explain?
Well, I can think of two common mistakes. The first is unapproved software being used in a slot machine. The second is defective software.
I think I understand, but carry on.
Well, the G2S standard provides an inventory of the software running in the slot machine. So you can use that to get the inventory, and then GAT tells you whether the software is an authentic copy of what was approved.
Right. So in the first program, Mark Pace and I talked about the value of G2S and the idea of getting a software inventory. Is that correct?
Correct. You know, operators have processes to try to prevent mistakes from happening, but they still do. So being able to get an inventory of the programs running in a slot machine and then figuring out whether they are the approved versions is really critical.
Well, the benefit is that regulators and I guess operators can identify if a wrong version of software is being used. Maybe it was revoked or obsoleted, but for some reason missed when slot machines were being upgraded to the newer version.
That's true. You know, once you know that the versions are correct or which version should be correct out there, you can check to see if they're in the machines and check to see if they're authentic. Again, this is less about, intentional cheating by corporations and more about something going wrong with the software burning process, or even something going wrong after the fact and trying to find software that needs to be replaced.
Okay, you said burning process? What's that?
Oh, sorry. Software used to be provided on EEPROMs, and burning was the terminology that we used for putting the software onto the EEPROMs. Now with the newer technologies, the process is more similar to downloading files from the web. But the old terminology, things like burning, still stick around. It's probably like coin in.
Okay, thanks for clarifying, Ethan. Now, getting back to authentication. So GAT helps with that, right?
Yeah, it does. And there are three flavors of GAT. There's Serial GAT, Network GAT, and G2S GAT.
Okay, well, can you help us understand the difference between all flavors?
Sure. Well, first thing to know is that GAT calculates a hash value for the software package. It could be the slot machine's operating system, could be game software. To get the hash value, the GAT software has to communicate with the slot machine. There are three ways this can be done. It can be done through a serial connection, which is Serial GAT, a network connection, or a Network GAT, or the information can be obtained through an existing G2S connection.
Oh, well, that makes sense. That's why you have to plug GAT into the slot machine, right?
Right. Serial GAT is an application that you load on a laptop, and then the laptop is connected to the GAT port inside the machine via a serial cable. The application can be used to request the hash value. The results should match the value included in the regulatory approval letter for the software.
Okay, well, that sounds simple, but time-consuming since you have to open each slot machine.
Exactly. That's why we invented the Network GAT.
So tell us about Network GAT.
As the name implies, Network GAT allows you to run GAT remotely over a network. No more having to open each slot machine.
Wow, that's a lot more efficient then.
I would think it is. Network GAT also allows you to connect to a trusted source.
So what do you mean we have a trusted source?
Well, when the software was approved, a hash value is calculated for the software package. Think of it like the software's fingerprint.
Mhm.
The hash value is included on the approval letter. Using Serial GAT, you had to compare the result with the value in that letter to enable
So,
the process.
so you either had to write down those values or essentially carry copies of the approval letters with you.
Correct. If you use a trusted source, that eliminates the need to make the comparison manually. Instead of the application just giving you the result, it can communicate directly with the trusted source to check the result itself.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And the trusted source can be managed by the regulator or a third-party lab.
Wow, that's very helpful. But you said that there also was a G2S GAT as well. Why create that when you could already GAT machines over the network?
Well, that's a good question. The network GAT eliminated the need to plug into each slot machine, but that's really all it does. It only does GAT, but over the network, which is better than doing it serially. G2S does a lot more than that, because regulators often want more information, like meters and security events. G2S provides all that information through a single protocol and network connection.
So that's the monitoring system that Mark and I discussed in the first program.
Yes, having GAT within G2S means that you can get all the functionality in one place. It's much more efficient to have one protocol in one system.
So you implement the network communication for G2S in one system, and then you run G2S and G2S GAT over that.
That's right.
Okay, great. Let me see if I can summarize our conversation, Ethan. There are three flavors of GAT. You got Serial GAT, you have Network GAT, and you have G2S GAT. While all three identify the authenticity of gaming software, Network GAT does so more efficiently than Serial GAT. However, the G2S GAT is the most efficient because it is part of G2S and therefore can operate over the G2S network. Having G2S and G2S GAT means that you can get an inventory of the software being used in the slot machine and then make sure it's authentic using a single process.
That's right. I think you got it.
Oh, fantastic, Ethan. Well, thank you for explaining this to us in layman terms. And to our audience, thank you for listening. Please send us your questions and comments by contacting us. Information on doing so can be found at our website, igsa.org. Until the next conversation, thank you.